AI, an inclusive approach to AI literacy. And why should a project manager talk about artificial intelligence, AI literacy? Let's save that question somewhere. We may or may not revisit it during the course of this discussion. But sometimes I get asked this question, and on a deeper reflection, it reveals the assumptions that AI conversations belong to AI researchers, AI developers, machine learning engineers. But is that really the case? In May 2025, I had a personal redefining encounter during a 2-day tech campaign organized by the Cross River State government, which also marked the official launch of the Global Beginner's Guide to Artificial Intelligence. It was a diverse mix of audience. We had business owners, startup founders, AI researchers, students, non-students alike, everyday community members, full-time housewives, and students. We asked a simple question: what is artificial intelligence? And then, to the business owner, it's a marketing tool. To the full-time housewife, it's a content generation tool. To the student, it's a research assistant. And then to the startup founder, it is building viable, practical, scalable solutions. To the AI researcher, it's a system of building machines, software, tools that simulate human intelligence, reasoning, and logic, whichever you want to call it. And now, if you take it to there were top government officials in that gathering as well. And for them, AI is whatever bridges the gap between governance and the people, streamlining processes, automating workflow. And to the everyday community members, traditional leaders, it was about social inclusion. It was about bridging the gap between people, building social interaction. If you paid careful attention to all of these different definitions from the different category of people, you discover a pattern. Their definition of artificial intelligence is more aligned towards their profession. And then, through the lens of their profession, how they engage with the entire AI ecosystem. Now, question 2. Do you think the challenge or the gap in AI literacy, not just in the global south, but all over the world, is around knowledge? Be careful before you say knowledge, because there are free AI literacy courses scattered all over the internet, and paid ones as well. Or is it about relevance? How much of what you know, you see, enables you carry out your day-to-day activities efficiently? Don't be quick to answer. Just stay with me. And if we come back to this audience and I ask the question, what is artificial intelligence? I don't have much time to go around. I know there are professionals here and I'll get brilliant responses, but I'll be kicked out of the show before I get to the second seat. We may all agree that it is machines simulating human intelligence. When we say machines, the first thing we think about is the electrician in the power grid. Can we imagine what the AI ecosystem would be like without electricity? Can anybody think about that? And then when you go a layer on top of that, you have the physical hardware, high-powered compute, storage, servers. And when you hear startup founders or developers say, I shipped my product to the cloud, I hope you don't think it's the atmosphere up there. It is someone's physical hardware infrastructure scattered across regions in the globe. This is where you have network engineers, data center engineers, infrastructure firewall switch engineers. And you go a step further down the lane, you have the cybersecurity professionals. These are the people who ensure that the right policies are in place and enforced to protect both hardware, software, and the people component of this ecosystem. And then you go a step further, you find people like me, the infrastructure project manager, who ensure the hardware is deployed, and then the cybersecurity professionals enforce the right set of rules. I don't know if I've answered question 1 there, but let's see where project managers fall into this ecosystem. And then you go a step further, you have the AI developers, the machine learning engineers, who build upon this underlying infrastructure. And then when you go a step further, you have the very brilliant people you see every day, the account, the sales, and the marketing team, who comes to you with a promise of one click transforming your life. But what happens after you make that click is not what we're discussing today. Probably TEDx 2027 will review that. And then when you go a step up, you get the users. You and I, corporate bodies, big tech, startups, we use the product made by other people. Now, question 3 or 4, if you've been paying attention. In all these analogies I've given, do you think that we all require the same amount or the same level of exposure, awareness, and training in this ecosystem? Don't be too quick to say yes or no. Even though you think they might mean the same thing, just pause and reflect. Early AI research revealed that early AI initiatives, research shows that it mirrored computer science curricula, prioritizing programming language and mathematical foundations over basic societal implications of the use of artificial intelligence. A good look at the mainstream AI courses, you'll see that it's all geared or more aligned towards AI coding and AI development. But recently, there's been huge call all over the world by voices, including people like myself, to review this architecture, this AI literacy framework, and ensure that we are building an inclusive AI ecosystem rather than an exclusionary one. Think about the ward clerk in the hospital, whose use of AI all through their stay in that career might just be to do what? Draft emails and meeting notes. Or think about the Uber driver. Think about the electrician in the power grid. Should we be burdened by MCP RAG model architecture? Or should we be thinking about the basics, the core tenets of artificial intelligence? Should we be talking about ability to spot risk and bias and how to follow through, our privacy? Let's think about that. Now, my friends and I, we thought about this and we came up with the AI literacy framework. In this framework, we looked at an inclusive approach that brings everybody together. We have, at the first stage or category, the curious explorer. Now, this is where you have the full-time housewives. This is where you have the Uber driver. This is where you have so many other people, including professionals like us, who need to understand the core tenets: privacy, safety, transparency, accountability, and have enough information to engage in the discourse around artificial intelligence, as well as the boldness or courage to engage these tools professionally, responsibly, involving critical thinking and ethical use of these tools. The next is the beginner builder. Now, in this stage, you have people who, bold enough to engage the system, can spot constraints, can spot bias, can flag risk, and can understand, whether you work in the big tech or in a startup, that a little adjustment to your tool or product can solve more problems. Now, it takes us to the next stage, which is the aspiring developer. Although it says aspiring developer, you have in this category people who can spell their requirements, who can articulate their requirements. Remember, you can spot constraints. You can understand that a little adjustment to WhatsApp. You can see that WhatsApp has evolved over the years. Some of the things it can do now, it couldn't do long time ago. And we heard of the story of the sale of Twitter and how the owner founded another messaging app. So in the aspiring developer, you have developers who can take this well-articulated requirements and put together another tool that can solve humanity's problem. So you have an ecosystem that understands that people should know, should stay curious, and should engage responsibly. And now you have the change makers. Within this group of people, you have people who bring pace and value to our adoption, ensuring that local and international laws are strictly adhered to, and we're not sticking away from the basics. Yes, we want to make things simple for humanity, but we consider that the right guardrails are in place and it does not cause harm. Now, the last question. When next someone tells you, I have an AI literacy course that promises you everything, is it worth taking a pause and reflecting? Do you actually need to know everything, or just enough to stay curious and innovative within this AI ecosystem? Thank you very much. Think about that.